Well, it's done. This is the painting that I'm going to submit to the membership show called Swarm. It's kind of weird. It feels I'm sending my sending it out into the world to see how it fares. I'm a little bit nervous about it. It is a very strange feeling that something that you worked on for several weeks and planned and designed for over about a month is going to go out the door and you may never see it again. And that's a strange feeling that potentially this is the last time I will ever see it. Reality is, though, it's an artist membership show at a cooperative art gallery. So really, the only people you get to attend to these things are other artists, other starving artists. No one really has a lot of money, so the notion that that other artists are going to buy your art uh, just before the holiday season. And today actually is Black Friday. Not Black Friday. It's American Thanksgiving. Tomorrow's Black Friday. So and it's pay hard times. When you go to the grocery store and you see people with calculators working out their grocery bills, this is going to be a tight holiday season. There's not a lot of money out there. So the notion that this thing's going to sell, I think, or the possibility that this thing is going to sell is pretty low. And this is not my primary market. I already have my market worked out. I have a retail strategy in place, and part of being an artist is trying to figure out who you're going to sell to and how you're going to do that. Many years ago, I gave up on the gallery scene. It I didn't have what it takes, or I didn't what I was offering wasn't what they wanted, and it's a lot of it is just pretty wallpaper, and I'm trying to do something unique with my own voice. And while the technique may be imperfect because I'm still striving to find that voice after all these years, which is maybe a little bit sad commentary on my abilities and my skill level. But nevertheless, the project is to do something and put something out in the world that uh, has a unique perspective that's mine and mine alone, and is not just a pretty picture that's going to compete with all the other pretty pictures out there. So it's that's a tall order. And then on top of that, it's Canada. Canada is a very small market for art. There's not a lot of people out there buying art, and if they do buy art, they're not buying art at the price levels that make it really feasible. It's all tends to be church basement art fairs and above. That sort of that range of pricing. The big markets are France, uh, Beijing to a certain extent, more like Hong Kong, sorry, for the Asian market, Paris, London, and of course New York. Toronto is Toronto and Vancouver are our local markets, and they're much smaller, support a much smaller community than New York or Paris or London. And then if you're talking about Hamilton or anything outside of those areas, those cities, it's almost non-existent. So you have to develop some kind of strategy for selling your art and how you're going to do it. And I've developed mine. I have my sort of commercial side, which is how I'm supporting myself. I've, I treat it a little bit as a pride. Can't say the word. I have my strategy, and you'll understand if I don't quite share it, because it's then you have people who copycat and will follow your lead on that. But I do have my market, and which is suffering at the moment because of the high interest rates, but nevertheless is working that and public commissions and that sort of thing. And that's how I'm handling things. So, in a few minutes, I'll be heading out the door and going down to Hamilton Inc. and dropping this off. As you can see, I have my picture frame, which in the submission instructions they required, and which ticks me off because I don't normally frame my stuff. I use gallery size canvases, and that for me looks great enough, really great. But when you're submitting, when there's a commission out there, if they say you need to put feathers on it or put a bow on it, if you don't do that, then you're more likely than not going to be accepted. And I provided feedback to the Inc. about that requirement, and it was a poor expression of instructions, and they will correct it for next year. But I had already purchased the frame. Looks pretty. I don't think it's necessary, but it looks pretty, and so I bought it, so I'm going to use it. And if someone buys it, then they're going to have a nice framed canvas. Just before I go, I'll show you the other thing I do. I came across a couple artists maybe about 10 or 15 years ago who did this. It's my labeling of my back. So I put, especially when you do abstract, I labeled the direction that is up for it. So when it's being staged, when it's being mounted in the gallery, they have some clear idea of how you want it presented. I have when it was painted, and then I have the size, the artist's name, and the title, so that it's all clear. So if for some reason the submission paperwork gets separated from the painting, that the gallery assistants will know what to do with it. And then the other thing I do is at the bottom, I include my business cards with a QR code, so that if someone let's say this goes on a wall somewhere, and 10 or 15 years later they wonder who it was done by, I want to find out my website or contact information, assuming that information hasn't changed, they will have that information. So this is to help not only the gallery assistants for the mounting process, and then if it's not sold to the return, make sure it gets back to me, and there's no confusion about that. And also, if it is purchased by a client, then they know who it was done by, and if they are more interested in more work, or let's say someone comes over and says, hey, I like that work, I'd like to have a painting along the same lines, who's the artist and how do I contact them, all the information is there. This is, in a way, a big business card. So not a nice way of putting it out there, but it is. So that's my particular thing. It's all framed and ready as Swarm Inc. Or Hamilton Artists Inc. required. And now I'm going to head off to the Inc. on James Street North and submit it, and then we'll see what happens at the opening on December 1st. Again, I don't think it's going to sell. I just don't think there is enough the market attending. The people attending are not really a buying audience. They're more my peers who are looking at their own work and the work of others, just to get a sense of what's being done in the community. But they're not there to buy. They're there to look. So, but that's okay. That's what membership shows are about, to give a chance for people to see what's being done in the community. Though I will say, sorry, just to drag this out a little bit longer, I will say if you are someone who likes art, membership shows at cooperative art galleries are an excellent way to get artists who are at the early stages of their career. You can get some really good art at very affordable prices. You know, the reality is 80% of the art out there is crap. You just got to accept that. So find something that speaks to you, that kind of rings something in your soul, and if you like it, you'll probably get it for a very good price, much better than when it shows up at a commercial gallery if that artist goes on to have a successful career. And the worst you have is you have something that reminds you of a special evening out, that speaks to you in some way. And on the upside, if the artist turns very successful, you may get a very early work by a famous future artist. So it's a no lose situation from my perspective. Great way to get art on your walls and get something original rather than some kind of print or wallpaper style artwork. This is a great opportunity to collect art at really quite reasonable prices. So that's my pitch for buying buying either my own art or other art being shown at Artisan. It's a good institution. It's been around since around the 1975, 76. My old art teacher was one of the founders, Bob Mason. I don't think Bateman was a founder. He was too busy with the Conservation Society at the time, and also doing his African safari trips in around 75, 76. And he had that big London show that then ended his time at Elgin. But anyhow, till next time, take care. Bye.